Welcome, everybody, to the Brick by Bit podcast, where we highlight the real impacts of digital design and construction. I am your host, Rich DePalma, and you are listening to Episode 5, Old School for the New School, an approach for digital design and construction education. Welcome again, everybody, to the Brick by Bit podcast. This is episode 5, and the topic for today is education and training for digital design and construction. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, get in touch, tell all your colleagues and friends about the podcast. With that said, let's just jump right back into it. We're going to look at 3 key areas in terms of education and training for digital design and construction. First, we want to just lightly touch on how we learn and kind of how that kind of drives our approach towards training. To have a very brief overview of what's out there in terms of training and education, and then kind of delving a bit deep into our approach towards the training and education side of things. Jumping right into how we learn. As usually what we try to do is kind of start with why are we doing something. That gives us a bit of a clue on what the benefit is going to be later on. So why do we do training? And really from our point of view, what we like to see kind of first, and why we would go for training and why we want to offer training, is to get people new knowledge and skill sets that is going to be necessary for them to compete. I think, as we're all aware at this stage, that digital design and construction is a topic that's not going away. There's definitely benefits as people engage with it more and more. We're starting to see more of it requirements for digital design and construction on projects. And then when you're looking at people getting the benefits of it, if you're not getting the benefit from it, then you need to start to take a look at how is that allowing me to compete at my highest level as an organization or even as an individual within a competitive market of construction. Another reason why, growth, right? So from a personal and organizational point of view, we like to learn things, we like to develop our skills, we like to take our experiences and see where it can get us. What's the next thing that we can achieve in the industry, whether that's through different positions within an organization, as an organization, different positions within your competitive environment, and then kind of just that overall satisfaction of kind of getting better. It's something that it impacts us on all sorts of our lives, whether it's kind of personal relationships, sports, physical fitness, and definitely comes across as being very important when you're talking to people about how they make their living. And if we can kind of help people grow in that respect as well, we're doing a good thing for people, and we're also doing a good thing for the industry. And look, in the last one, to me anyway, there's an enjoyment in learning. It very much ties in with that whole growth aspect of things. But if we're learning, we're doing something productive, and if we're doing something productive, usually it's a very enjoyable experience. Whenever we're delivering training, you start to see what people may be kind of struggling in the beginning. Maybe this is not for me. Kind of a common one we get is kind of, I wouldn't do that anyway, and this is a young person's game. But when people start to kind of get into it, you start to see that they do enjoy kind of the learning new things and are ready to apply that in their own personal settings. So we don't kind of understand why we learn. Now take a look at how we learn. And we kind of break it down to 2 things. The first one is that first, someone tells us things, right? So someone has knowledge. We need to acquire that knowledge. So we get that knowledge by someone kind of sharing that knowledge with us. We do that in various settings, whether it be through online research, books, courses, the school. That's where there's a knowledge base there. We go to acquire that knowledge by getting that from somebody that has it already or has an idea about it, and can communicate what that idea is. and then after that, we do things, right? So someone tells us something, and then we go and do it, and then we see how they go, right? So really, what we're talking about here is, a knowledge acquisition and then a knowledge application. The learning something, and then in order to learn it, we need to actually apply it and get the experience from implementing what we would have kind of gained from a knowledge point of view. So really kind of the equation that we see as being kind of the real value add, and I think this is critical to our approach, and really I think should be critical towards your analysis of how you want to go about and get your education and training in digital design and construction. Is that we have a technical introduction to a topic, right? So that's the knowledge acquisition side, plus experience get ourselves. That is the applied knowledge that'll last you and can be used, and I think that's the two key things there. Is once we have it, that we can kind of keep it lasts with us. We can always go back to those learnings. Then we've actually learned it, we understand it. And once we can use it, then we know it's adding value. If something's not adding value to us, we need to consider is it something worth keeping in the memory banks, or pursuing another avenue of training that kind of targets what we're really looking to use. So when we look at that knowledge acquisition, we see that as limited value, right? There's value there for sure, but it's limited because it's not giving us the other thing, which is experience. Now, experience on its own has value, a lot of value, but if we're not doing that in the context of a certain knowledge base, it limits the value there as well. We combine the two, and that's what we see as the value target for education and training in digital design and construction. And look, I think that can be applied for anything we do, and particularly anything that's really kind of practically based within our industry, not just digital design and construction. So look, what's out there for digital design and constructions, right? We got loads of videos. You can go to YouTube and find loads of videos, and you can find this video on YouTube, right? So there's tons of stuff that's out there. Look, I'd be kind of a bit wary of kind of going to say one source of videos for anything. And luckily we can, because there's loads. You can go verify, different tutors, different people just sharing their experiences. I think one thing that the digital design and construction community has been very good at is through kind of sharing and kind of recognizing that training is important. And trying to share that through various different means. The blogs and forums, right? We would kind of, still, when we still go to check out videos, we would definitely go check out blogs and forums for particular topics, definitely from a technical point of view anyway. And then look, even from a process point of view, that, that there's a lot of people that are sharing valuable information that's out there. Just the blogs and forums, again, we obviously have to check, what's the date. Sometimes one thing to be careful of is that if we're kind of looking up something, the one thing we're biased to our own views. So if we find something that agrees with our position, but it's written in 2015, we need to kind of take a look and see, okay, how has this topic progressed? But look, there's loads of information that's out there. Loads of formal training programs as well. We have an approach towards formal training. As you would have kind of heard of over the last few podcasts that we have up at patreon.com/brickbybit. Where it's kind of putting together a bit of structure on some of those videos and topics that you'd see in blog forums. Putting it in a way that's consumable for people. And people can obviously kind of go back to. There's also kind of face-to-face. There's online training programs, so there's a lot that's out there as well. And there's academic courses. Over the recent years, we've seen a big uptake in academic courses. And that's across the board. A lot we've seen in Ireland. We've seen a lot in the UK. Where lots of universities and third level education partners and sources are producing kind of courses for people to take in that setting. With all that content that's out there, I think we got to go back to that value equation. Knowledge gain plus experience equals true value for education and training. How many hit that value target? And I would say none of them do on their own, right? And I think that's kind of a very important part of that statement that I want to make. Are any of if you're just looking at videos on their own, are you just looking at forums, or are you just doing an academic course as well? Does that actually hit the value target? The again, purely based on that equation that we've put out there. And no, it doesn't. But they do provide value, right? I'm just saying that it's a limited value that's put out there. Something's better than nothing. That's the first case, right? That if you're just kind of trying to go out there from a digital design and construction point of view and wing it, I think you can do it, but I think you're going to struggle, and you're not going to be as efficient as kind of learning from other people's experiences with the topic. Look, one aspect of kind of, I think, those things as well is looking at, this goes back to the why as well. One thing that we do assume whenever we're getting involved in delivering training, and certainly kind of assuming it with what we're doing with the training videos and kind of our overall brick by bit approach, is that you want to learn. If it's about a piece of paper, that's separate, right? That's separate from learning, right? I'm not saying that's not important. I'm sure we can kind of spend the time on a topic just like that. But, from an individual and company point of view, if we're just looking for pieces of paper, we're looking for badges, that's not what we're talking about here. So it's let's take that, put that's a kind of variable we'll put to the side for now. The focus is, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to be competitive, I want to enjoy kind of what I'm doing, from a learning perspective. The other aspect of those is that, particularly from, say, an academic course point of view, is the ability to network with other students, other teachers, instructors. So there's definitely value in that, in terms of being able to kind of come together as a group, kind of develop ideas, make connections. From a professional point of view. So like I said, there is value there. But it's not just giving us our overall kind of true value that we're really looking for. So with all those things out there, just to go a little bit deep into why we see these things are limited. Firstly, we have experience across the board in all of those things. We've delivered training in person, we've delivered training online. We've been involved in teaching in academic settings. We've tried different schemes. From full day training, half day training, couple hours here training, couple hours there training. We got an idea for kind of a simulated project, training. We've recorded sessions, we've done on-person training, online training, and what we'd say is that all of them have their limitations. In that, and they all have their challenges associated with them, right? Particularly from a video training perspective, not so much if. So from a video training perspective, you're not getting that face to face. So you're not getting any real engagement from people. You can get some engagement through comments. You can get some engagement through kind of providing feedback into the instructors. But a lot of times those video training, they're not being kind of manned, as such. Something different that we're doing kind of with the Big by Bit and Patreon side of things is we're trying to make it more of a social media, social experience. By being engagement, having engagement with the people that are providing comments, reviewing the videos. Is also kind of the videos being kind of produced on a regular basis. Excuse me. That's how we're trying to get getting through that. In terms of some of the training, the products and services are being offered with a short-term view. That you're going in for a training session. It's a 3-day session, 4-day, 5-day, whatever it is. The focus is on those 5 days, right? The focus isn't necessarily on how this is going to stretch out over the long term. So go in, deliver your content, leave, right? You're bombarding people with content over a short amount of time. You're hoping that some of it's retained, and then you're walking away. In our experience, we've had to retrain people sometimes 2 and 3 times in different companies because they do training. They don't end up working with the tools. Because they're not working with the tools, they then forget the stuff that they learned, which is absolutely normal. That's not a kind of a knock on anybody. And then we go and say, okay, I need to go through that again. Okay, so here's the kind of training again. There's no value in that. We don't feel good about that. It's kind of saying, okay, what did we miss? That we delivered this a year or 2 ago. We're coming back again for the same stuff. So that's one thing, right? Products and services that are offered with a short-term view. A lot of times there's no context, right? So we're learning how to use different tools. Kind of just as their functionality works. We're not putting it into a project context. And even kind of areas where we do provide context, that context is not necessarily based in reality, right? We don't have the real pressures of kind of day-to-day kind of stuff. So a lot of times we're seeing these training courses that offer kind of a collaborative element. Is it really collaborative? When kind of nothing depends on the answer, really. We can and the scale is often kind of pulled back on those. The complexity is often pulled back on those. Is there value there? Of course, there's a limited value there. But is it really giving somebody a real, true idea and true understanding of what's going to happen when we work in a collaborative environment? That is driven by digital design and construction. We talked about kind of information overload, right? Squeezing information into a shorter period of time. Not only is it an issue just in terms of from a time point of view and the kind of there you go, see you later type approach towards delivering those training. It's people learn at different rates, right? And people learn with different methods as well. So if we're gonna be sit down for a 5-day course and basically the routine is I tell you what it is, I show you a demo on the screen, you go off and practice what that demonstration is, and then we go on to the next topic. Some people kind of learn from writing stuff down, right? So we've been involved in training sessions where the person is feverishly writing notes. They're missing what's on the screen, right? So then they're writing down, they're doing this, they're not getting into their practical bit, but there's a time limit because we got to cover this content in a short amount of time. So straight away, if someone learns in that particular manner, they're going to be struggling. For it. And what ends up happening there, you end up repeating topics kind of 3 or 4 times within a session. And then what you end up doing is compressing even more. So it's a huge challenge with delivering in that type of way. No opportunity for application, right? Like I said there before, the giving somebody a training, but then they're not working on a project means that they lose that, right? They lose that learning very quickly. I've mentioned kind of areas we've redone training for people kind of, a year and a half, 2 years since they had their initial training. But in reality, if you're learning something particularly from say a software point of view, and you're not using it for a couple of weeks, again, depending on the complexity of the software, but a lot of times with digital design and construction software, in a couple of weeks that's gone. And then it becomes a real challenge because then you have to reacquire that knowledge again when you need it. So kind of one thing that we find is kind of clear the first day we walk in, and anytime we're doing any sort of training in any format, is 1, do you have access to the tool? 2, do you have a project that you'll be working on now or in the very near future? And when I say very near future, I mean this week or next week. If the answer is no to that, there's been times we haven't delivered the training. We basically stopped saying, this isn't going to be a huge value add for you because we're going to teach you something and you're not going to be able to practice it. You're not going to be able to retain it. So give us a call in 2 months when that project's going to kick off. Or give us a call in a couple of weeks when we're going to have, the software is going to be available for everybody doing the training course. There's a big cost impact, right? What that is, 1, the training costs money, to acquire, to deliver the training. There's costs associated with that, as well as you're delivering value. So there's a cost associated with any of the courses, right? So that's everyone's kind of okay with that, right? But the other side of things, we have production time that's lost, right? So this also kind of ties into the different formats. Like I said, kind of we would have started off kind of giving full day training. Very quickly realizing that that's not adding a huge amount of value to our customers, in that they're busy people. To take somebody out for a day was a very, very big challenge. What ends up happening? People go off to take phone calls. Breaks that were supposed to be 15 minutes become 45 minutes because someone's on the phone or checking an email. Some people just have to go, and they leave for a meeting, come back, and then they're an hour or two away from the course, and then they've missed a big chunk of material for that day. That's we said okay, we're gonna drop down to half day, then we'll drop down to kind of an hour here, and it becomes a very big kind of challenge because you need to work around the fact that people are busy. And people have kind of commitments that they've made in their professional environment and their delivery side of their professional environment, that their education and training side of their professional environment usually takes a back seat, and which is understandable. The cost of retraining. All of a sudden we're doubling up on cost here if we're having to take the same course 2 times or learn the same content 2 times. It becomes a bad learning experience. So all of a sudden now, we talked about the enjoyment of learning that comes out because we're doing something over again. We're not feeling that we're 100% productive in it. We're not getting practice, and they said like the time and money that's lost from the production point of view is now lost twice because on the same subject because we've had to retrain. And look, this one's kind of a slightly more controversial one, is what is the experience of the teacher? I think that's a really important thing when people are kind of saying we're going to teach about collaboration processes. Okay, how have you collaborated in the real world, right? So that, I think that becomes a huge issue, because people are coming in with either they don't have that, right, and they're just taking a very academic approach. Where they're saying, okay, here's what the standard tells us to do, and we're just going to go out and teach a standard, and we're not going to do it based on any real practical experience. Or this is the way I do it as an individual. And this is the way that I'm going to teach it. I'm not taking into account other methodologies, from a collaboration point of view or other people's perspectives on it. And again, that becomes a very kind of narrow focused area of training and learning. And look, it's very much, I think, an issue when we're looking at the issues of collaboration. From a software teaching point of view, I think it's less of an issue. That if you technically know how to use the software and you can communicate that effectively, then people can learn how the thing functions. The challenge is, can you teach people how the thing's going to function in the context of the real world? And then when you get to other topics like management, collaboration, then all of a sudden the experience component of the educator really becomes a big issue. And if all we're going to have is just a regurgitation of standards, then we're sending out a cohort of people that have learned with the wrong idea. They have part of the puzzle, right? But they're not going out there and kind of facing kind of the real world challenges that you end up having from a collaboration point of view. So look, how do we address those, right? Like the first thing is kind of, we repeat this in kind of in a lot of the podcasts and a lot of the topics, is we need to plan it out, right? So we look at training. If you're going to go off and get training or looking to kind of arrange training for your team, why do you need the training, right? Am I looking for a badge? Do I have a thirst for knowledge? Is it a project requirement? Really understand why we actually want to do this, because that's going to dictate what you're going for, what you're trying to do. If you're going for a badge, go out there. What's the best badge I can get for and what's the value for money for this particular badge, right? Go off and do that. If it's for thirst for knowledge, I think then you need to take kind of a different approach here and kind of saying, okay, how am I going to learn? What's actually needed? That's kind of one of the key questions that's there. Which software, which processes, what do I need to learn now? What do I need to learn into the future? That all ties into the plan. And look, like I said, understand the context of what you're going to do from learning, right? So one thing that kind of we would look to recommend kind of in the beginning is to first take a look at your workflows. Develop them if you can. But again, time wise, kind of and cart before horse type situations means you might not get that. But what it does is it helps you define what that goal that you want for the training is going to be. Is it a case of we're looking at our workflows and we're seeing that we have a big gap from a coordination point of view? Well, if that's the case, then that's going to drive us maybe that we're going to look at kind of Celebri and Navisworks kind of training first. And then kind of we'll take a look at potentially modeling later, or usually it's the other way around, that we need to look at kind of developing our high quality models, and then we can look at that from a coordination point of view. Maybe it's just for we have a specific need at the moment for our senior staff to be viewing models, so we'll target kind of our training towards that. Hugely again kind of hugely important for developing that plan. That ties into who needs it, right? And it's one of those things that we need to make sure that the people that need the training get it, But we also need to make sure that the people that need it get the right training. A senior manager, do they need to know Revit? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. Maybe they just need a quick overview just to understand what's happening a little bit. But do they actually really need to go delve into the tools? Whereas a junior person coming in straight away, maybe they just need a bit of a refresher kind of on specific topics within modeling. And then as that person grows, their training requirements are going to change over time. And to facilitate that type of training at the right time. And kind of one thing kind of where we really focus on here is that it needs to be multidimensional to get that technical and experience side of the value equation. We said there before kind of various different things that are out there, videos, blogs, academic courses, training courses. They all have a certain amount of value. They all have their drawbacks. Really from what we've seen and what we've tried to develop through Brick by Bit is looking at it from a multidimensional point of view. We'll get into that kind of a little bit later. And specifically what we need but the main point for now as part of your planning process is to identify what are the modes and methods of learning that we need to incorporate that are going to offer us the most value, and also mitigate the risks on how much time it's going to cost us and commercially cost us as well. And also just integrate work activities. If there's ideally what we're trying to do here is that we have a project that's coming up. Hopefully maybe we have a certain basis of knowledge, but we just need to kind of expand on that to meet the project requirements. So what we end up doing is kind of saying, okay, what are we going to do on the project? And let's tailor our training schedule towards that. So if what we need to do in week 10 is get out the stair package, well, we want to take a look at maybe kind of working out how we're going to do that in weeks 6, 7, and 8. Maybe that's what our topic for our training needs to be for that period of time, so that we're making sure that we're hitting that project target. That's an ideal situation. It's obviously not going to always work like that. Project requirements probably have you jumping from here to there. But if we can ideally do that, is that we have when we learn something, we're going to be quickly applying it in a real world setting. You be sure that you're going to learn that because you need to learn it under pressure, and you're producing something on foot of your learning, which again you won't be forgetting that too quickly. So look, kind of how do we look to do this with Brick by Bit, right? The first one, challenge that we talked about was products and services being offered with a very short-term view. So look, how we do that is that from the Patreon point of view is that we have those training videos available, right? So patreon.com/brickbybit, you have access to the catalog of training videos that we add to on a regular basis. So you can go acquire the learning in a training video, and if you need to go back later on, you can do that. Look, in addition to that, if there's questions or anything that raise within the training on those videos, we have the facility to comment with the videos. Again, it's meant to be one of the benefits, I think, of the Patreon platform is that it can be social. There's a bit more of an interaction with the videos, even requesting a video saying, can we go deeper into this topic? All that is available up on patreon.com/brickbybit. Poor context. So this one's a big challenge now. So one thing that we have added, again, this is tied into it's available up on Patreon as well, is a mock-up project. It's a gap, right? So the hardest thing to do in any sort of training context is develop a real context for people to work in. The mock-up project, what allows people to do is allows people to in a very sanitized form kind of approach, say, model production or whatever the topic is. Allows you to approach it so you see what the process is, right? The big issue is going to be working with others. That's the big gap that's missing, right? Even if you have a mock-up project where you have kind of, you're an architect and you have MEP engineers and structural engineers and you're working together on this mock-up project, it's never going to be the same as a real project. But it's something, right? It's something that you can start to kind of understand what it is. And if anything, you can start to see where there's potential problems and potential risks. You're not having to address them, so you're not getting that knowledge. That's going to come kind of on the job. And that's why we kind of previously would have said, if we can align this with a job, that's perfect. That's the ideal, because we're getting that learning straight away. So the other thing is what we would do is kind of 3 parts make up the kind of the brick by bit kind of learning framework. The first one is the technical videos on Patreon. The second one is this podcast, right? That we're sharing kind of our experiences, in our real world context there. And the third one is kind of providing kind of a clinic. So really how we would structure things is saying, okay, here's the access to the videos. Here's kind of plan out kind of the topics to address over a period of time. But then say on a weekly, fortnightly basis, we sit down for an hour or two, either face to face or technically usually it's online nowadays. Kind of given the current state of COVID, and the way people work, and working from home and being distributed nowadays, where we kind of go through those, and that provides that kind of that face to face interaction, the real world interaction, where we can kind of do 2 things with those clinics. We can kind of further explain what's in the videos, or address any questions with the videos or the technical aspects of the topic. But often what we also do is look at it from a project point of view. Where if there's specific questions on a project or specific advice that's want to be asked about on a project, when it comes down to collaboration or people management, project management on a particular digital design and construction job, we provide that as well, right? So we get that's how we kind of push in some of the real world context within it, within the overall framework. So again, kind of sometimes see things that are being inefficient, where if people are off trying to find a solution on their own, that can be quite time consuming. Whereas if we provide those clinic hours, we can kind of use our experience to quickly kind of help people and answer those questions for people through that clinic time. The information overload. So with the video side of things, you get to learn at your own pace, right? So you always stop, repeat. If your method of learning, like we said, is writing down notes, the videos in our point of view kind of provide those notes. And there's also, when you look at on Patreon, there's detailed notes given for the mock-up exercises. You can start learn in your own way. And if it's just flow through the entire video and just practice it, great. If it's stop and start to learn different things, stop and start, write down your notes, you have the opportunity to do that at your own pace, so you don't get that information overload. You can plan things out on a more longer term. You can plan things out in much smaller chunks. With the videos that are up on Patreon to get the learning at like I said, kind of at your pace, and something that you can actually consume. No opportunity for application. Like we said, kind of access to resources. You need that. You need to be able to access the hardware, software, documentation, processes, whether they're internal processes for your company or standards. You need to have those to hand. So that's one thing that it's tough to correct. If you don't have access to the software, it's going to be tough to learn it for sure. And then they say, project application, we have the mock-up. Obviously, real world is going to be better than that. And we also have those clinics. The cost impact of things as well, something we definitely wanted to take a look at when we were looking at kind of how we were setting up brick by bit as a platform. So first thing, from a training point, or a knowledge acquisition training point of view, videos, we said those need to be low cost for we want people to be accessing. We want to be sharing knowledge. We want to improve the construction industry, and part of that is going to be through learning. So if you go up, visit patreon.com/brickbybit, you'll see the different tiers that are there. So one, keep those videos cost low. Podcast, those are free. They're just taking up your time. And with clinic time, it's as needed, right? And I think that's kind of a really important thing from our clinic time point of view, that it's not something where it's a rigid thing. We're flexible with it. Most of the time when we've done it, it's been kind of on a weekly or fortnightly basis. that we kind of sit down with people. A lot of time it's more project based than actually anything to do with the videos, which is great. Because then we know kind of we're involved in kind of real world learning. So cost impacts production time that's lost, right? So because the videos can happen whenever you need to, you can prioritize your production time, and then engage with the videos at a time that actually suits. So it saves that. And then the same thing with the retraining and the bad experiences. Because you have access to the videos, if you're setting up kind of clinic time with us, that's coming as well. From the retraining point of view, there's a lot more opportunities to engage with the material on a much more regular basis, so that you don't have those big gaps in terms of retraining on things. So really kind of in a nutshell, in terms of our approach, we take the multi-dimensional approach. We're combining those videos. That's really part of the knowledge acquisition. We have the podcast. That's more about kind of our knowledge sharing, kind of dealing with real world experiences. And then we have the clinic time, the aspect of it. So we come at it from 3 different ways, and the clinic time really allows us to engage with people so that we can kind of address project specific items. We can any gaps that people kind of are finding with the videos, or something that they want to dive into a bit deeper. We can if there's a deeper dive, we end up doing another video for it, so that people have that as an ongoing resource. But then the clinic time allows us to deal with people kind of on a face-to-face basis, deal with real world challenges, and provide the advice that's going to help them succeed. So look, in summary, for this particular podcast, we looked at kind of how we learn. And again, I think one of the kind of key takeaways from this is understanding that the training and education, value equation. We need to acquire knowledge. We need the experience. If we get both of them, then we're really learning, and we're maximizing our value for that learning. If we're just going for one or the other, we're limiting our value that we're getting from that particular learning experience. What's out there, there's loads of content that's out there, right? Whether it's schools, videos, blogs, kind of podcasts, all that. There's lots of stuff that's out there for people to use. It's to use those resources in the most value-adding way. And then looked at kind of our approach, and how we've set up kind of the brick by bit learning experience, and that framework. Again, we got the videos up on patreon.com/brickbybit. We got the podcast here, available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. And then we also have the clinic hours, right? So setting up that clinic so that we kind of have regular interaction, that we can talk about the topics that are actually impacting you on your projects. Don't forget to get in touch with us. You can contact at brickbybitpodcast.com. We have Twitter at brickbybit, Instagram at brickbybit. brickbybitpodcast.com is the website. The training videos, patreon.com/brickbybit. As well as up on YouTube as well. So please get in touch, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.